Hello, I'm Bailey Leisure, and this is my 2018 NFL Season Week 6 picks video. So starting off with the Thursday Night Football matchup, the Eagles and the Giants. The Eagles at a disappointing 2-3, the Giants sitting at 1-4. Eagles coming off a loss against the Minnesota Vikings, Giants coming off a loss against the Carolina Panthers. Both teams, really, the NFC East, I think, is still up for grabs, even for the Giants, sitting at 1-4, considering the Redskins are 2-2 and leading the division right now. The Eagles lost Jay Ajayi, so a big blow to their running game. I think the key for this game, though, for the Eagles to win this football game, I think it will be to they're going to have to rely a lot on Carson Wentz, and that defense has got to improve a little bit more. The Giants, I think the key will be Eli Manning, building off that second half that he had against the Carolina Panthers. I think this will be a pretty close game, but I'm going to take the Eagles in this one over the Giants. Bears versus the Dolphins. Bears coming off a bye week. Dolphins coming off that game against the Bengals where they blew a 17-point lead and lost 27-17. I think the keys in this game will be the Bears and Trubisky, coming off the last game he played where he threw 6 touchdowns. I think Khalil Mack's going to cause a lot of troubles for the Miami Dolphins, and I think Trubisky and Jordan Howard will have big games. I think the big players for the Chicago Bears are going to perform really well in this game, and I'm going to take the Bears over the Dolphins in this one. Bills versus the Texans, both teams coming off surprising wins in Week 5. The Buffalo Bills coming off that victory against the Tennessee Titans, and the Texans coming off the battle of the Texas teams against the Dallas Cowboys. I think this game will be relatively close. I think Deshaun Watson I like a little bit more than Josh Allen, the rookie. I think the Texans, I think DeAndre Hopkins will have a pretty decent game, and I think J.J. Watt will have a very good game against the Bills offense, so I'm going to take the Texans in this one. Buccaneers versus the Falcons. Falcons disappointing at 1-4 so far. The Buccaneers cooling off after that starting off the season 2-0. Jameis Winston will be starting this game. I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this one simply because I think Atlanta's defense is unfortunately, has been hampered by injuries. Chargers versus the Browns. Both teams coming off good wins. Both teams kind of in competing modes right now. And yes, the Cleveland Browns are competing right now, meaning that they're in contention. And honestly, I'm going to go with an upset here, the Browns over the Chargers. I think if this game was in Los Angeles, even though the Chargers' home field advantage is not good, but I like the Browns. I think Phillip Rivers will have a pretty decent game, but I like the Browns at home, so I'm going to take them in this. Colts versus the Jets. I'm going to take the Jets in this one simply because, for one thing, Andrew Luck, just the team around him, I just don't like. He's going to be out without one of his big offensive weapons in T.Y. Hilton. I think Isaiah Crowell will have a pretty big game. I like the Jets' defense against the Colts' offense, so I'm going to take them in. Panthers versus the Redskins. The Redskins are, you know what? I expect them to do better because, they've kind of been back and forth all season. The Panthers are coming off a really good win against the Giants. I expect, though, the Panthers I think this will be a close game than people expect it to be. But I like Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey. I think they'll put up big numbers in this game, and I'm going to take the Panthers in this game. Cardinals versus the Vikings. Both teams coming off wins. The Vikings will be at home. They really got a big win last week, and I feel like if the Vikings can win this game, it could really get them going and get into a bit of rhythm that they need to, do, especially since the kind of disappointing start. The Cardinals, when it comes to this, the Vikings are coming off probably their best defensive performance all season long, and I think that's going to be the factor in this game. Even though the Cardinals have a great defense, I think the Cardinals will have trouble containing some of that overloaded offense on Minnesota. I think Rosen will have a pretty decent game. I'm hoping that the offense is able for the Cardinals to pick it up a bit, especially if they are able to cause some turnovers that I think this defense is capable to do. But since this is at home, I'm going to take the Vikings over the Seahawks versus the Raiders. Seahawks came off kind of an offensive battle, surprising offensive battle against the Rams. Raiders coming off a loss to the Chargers. Yes, I think this is the first time that Marshawn Lynch is facing his former team. Um, I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one simply just because I like the quarterback matchup better for the Seahawks. I like Russell Wilson a little bit more than Derek Carr. And I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. Steelers versus the Bengals. This is at Cincinnati. It's always big, and especially with Vontaze Burfict back. You know, this is a very critical game for the Steelers if they want to get back in the division race. For the Bengals, this is a big game, not only to finally get a little bit of the monkey off their back, considering they've had an inability. This has been a team that's always been in their way. You know, especially with off to a pretty good start, this could really establish people looking at you a little bit more seriously. I think this is a game where both offenses do very well, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is kind of an upset pick, but I will take the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. Rams versus the Broncos. Rams undefeated. The Broncos coming off a kind of a disappointing, embarrassing loss over the Jets. Even though this is in Denver, I'm going to take the Rams. I think they just have too many weapons, and just defensively, I think they look a little bit better. And come on, Jared Goff, he's playing some of his best football in his career so far right now. And I like the quarterback matchup over Case Keenum in this one, so the Rams, I think, will win. Jaguars versus the Cowboys. Both teams coming off disappointing losses. You know, the big thing for Jacksonville, they're going to be without Leonard Fournette once again. You know, I think this is going to be a game where Blake Bortles has to perform a lot better, which I think he's capable of doing. You know, same thing with Dak Prescott. He's got to have a much better game this week as well. I think this will be a close game, but I will take the Jacksonville Jaguars simply because I like the defense a little bit more, and I think Bortles will have a bounce-back game. He's got to limit the turnovers and just manage the game well. And I think the big key in this game will be how many turnovers Jacksonville and how many big plays they can make for their team, and I like the defense a little bit more, so I'll take Jacksonville. The Ravens versus the Titans, both teams at 3-2 competing. I think this game will be pretty close. Last year, the Titans played the Ravens, and they were able to beat the Ravens. I think this year, even though this is at Tennessee once again, I will take the Baltimore Ravens in this. Chiefs versus the Patriots. Last year, these guys performed the first game of the NFL season of 2017. They're playing here in Week 6, the Sunday Night Football game matchup. Great quarterback matchup, Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think we're going to see some big offensive numbers, especially with the disappointing defenses on both teams. And you know what? The Chiefs did it with Alex Smith last year. I think they will do it again. I'm going to take them in Foxborough over the Patriots. And then the Monday Night Football matchup, the 49ers versus the Packers. I mean, I think once Jimmy Garoppolo got injured, this matchup is basically nothing. I'm going to take them. And that's it for my Week 6 NFL picks video. As always, follow me on Twitter at BaileyLaser96. If you like the video, click like, subscribe if you like the content on my channel, and leave your comments below in the comments section. If you want to see my Week 5 recap that I did yesterday, check out the link in the description below. And stay tuned tomorrow if you're a fan of my baseball videos, as I will be doing a 2018 Major League Baseball season postseason divisional round recap, as well as my predictions for the American League and National League Championship Series. So thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.